All right, so now we're going to review slope. And so hopefully you have some memory of slope from previous grades. So slope review. First thing, we've got 4 different ways to be able to classify slope. I like to say always remember to read your graphs kind of left to right to help you identify that one. So if I'm going from this one from left to right, we have a positive slope. And if we go here left to right, this one is a negative slope. And if we go left to right here, it's kind of like, what do we have going on here? But that one's called a zero slope if it's just in horizontal line. And then if we have a vertical line, it is an undefined slope. So these are the 4 types of slopes that you have. Now we're going to talk about how to actually calculate the value of the slope. So one way to refine the slope is to do rise over run. And so you can find these values from your graph. So remember, your rise is your vertical direction. So if it's going up or down, how much? And then your run is your horizontal distance. And so we're looking between, you get any 2 points on the graph, you can figure out the rise over run. So let's practice. While doing this, you can kind of remember back to when we were doing distance and actually had to make a line and do the triangles. You can kind of doing the same thing here. So in this respect, it doesn't matter which way you actually want to do your rise over run, what your triangle looks like. So from here to these 2 points, here's my rise here. But also on this one, could do the same thing. It's the same picture. I could do my rise here. Doesn't matter. Okay. And then we're going to do our run, which is to connect here. Oops. We're going to do our run. Let's try again. Or we can do it here. Either way, we are just trying to make a right triangle to connect 2 points from our graph. So now we're just going to count our rise and our run, making sure to pay attention to direction. So if you had to move down, it's a negative value. If you move up, it's a positive value. If you had to move left, it's a positive value. If you move left, it's a negative value. If you have to move right, it's a positive value. So make sure you keep that in mind as you're calculating. So here, let's do our run. Because I had to go down to connect to my triangle, I'm just going to count. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces. So our rise here is going to be a -5 because we went down. But over on this side, we end up going up. So we still go up 5 spaces. So this here is a +5. Okay. So let's do our run. Remember, if we go to the right, that's a positive number. So in this one, we moved 1, 2, 3 spaces. So we have a run of 3. But in this one, we had a run of -3 because we went to the left. Okay. So if we go over here, we take our slope. Remember, represented by the letter M is your rise. And in this case, our rise is -5 over our run, which is a +3. And I can't simplify that anymore, so that means our slope is a -5/3. If I come over here, our rise was +5, and our run was -3. Still, this is negative 5/3. And remember, when you have the negative number or the negative sign, it can go to either the numerator or denominator, or it can hang out in the middle at the fraction bar, and they all mean the same thing. So like I said, all three of these mean the exact same number of negative 5/3. All right, so if we come over here, if you have the 2 points, you can actually use the formula y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And this should make sense from the rise over run, because rise is dealing with your y direction, so we're subtracting the y values, whereas your run is horizontal, those are your x values, that's the direction of your x-axis, so we're subtracting those. So what you would do here is you would just first identify your ordered pair. So if I go here from this graph, remember, to get your ordered pair, you go on the x-axis first, then y-axis. So this point here would be at 1, 1, 3. So that's that point's ordered pair. And then if we come here, remember, we're still going to go to the x, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So your x coordinate is 4. And your y coordinate is negative 2. Okay. Now in this case, a lot of students get confused which one has to be the second ordered pair and which one has to be the first. Doesn't matter as long as you're consistent. Okay. So here, I'm just going to use this one as the y2, and I'm going to use this one as the y1. Doesn't matter if you flipped it and did it the other way, you would still get the same exact answer. So I'm going to do y2, and remember, y is the second number in the ordered pair, so that's a 3 minus, we're going to do y1, so that's the y value in the other ordered pair. So 3 minus negative 2. And don't forget, you need to make sure you have the minus a negative here. Okay. And now we're going to do the x values. So we have x of 2. So we go back to our one that we said we are going to use for that. And it's 1 minus, and come here and use this x value, 4. Okay. So now we're just going to go ahead and work that out. So we have 3 minus negative 2. So remember, you have minus a negative, that becomes a plus. So that's 5 over 1 minus 4 is negative 3. And since we can't simplify that, and this should make sense because it's the same picture as before, we have a slope of negative 5/3. Okay. And I just want to show you that if I chose to do the other, if I choose to flip this around and I used this one as my sub 2, so if I did this one as y2, x2, y2, and if I did this other one as x1, y sub 1, you still get the same answer. So again, let's try it again. We're going to do y sub 2, which in this time is negative 2. So we have negative 2 minus y sub 1, which is 3, over x of 2, which is 4, minus x of 1, which is 1. And then we're still going to go ahead and subtract. So negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. 4 minus 1 is 3. And although the negative is in the numerator this time, we both said these all mean the same thing. So again, you get the same answer. Okay? And that's the review of slope.